Hello, I'm Jackie. Welcome to a demonstration of training and development analytics. For as long as individuals have been investing in training and development, two persistent questions have been asked. 1. How will we know if the training has been successful? 2. How will we know if we've received a satisfactory return on our investment? Training and development analytics will help answer both of these questions. First and foremost, training and development analytics is a valuable management tool that will provide key insights that will help management make informative decisions. For coaches, the tool will point out specifically where individuals and groups need coaching. Training and development analytics uses on-the-job performance to determine whether or not a training initiative has been successful. It also uses on-the-job performance to measure return on investment. It's all about converting training to exceptional on-the-job performance. Training and development analytics is affordable, easy to use, and can be an invaluable tool for all of your training and development initiatives. Let's now take a look. We'll start with the Welcome tab. There are important points on this tab I'd like to share with you. First of all, this Microsoft Excel-based analytics tool is used to measure training effectiveness and two areas of return on investment for training initiatives. Training effectiveness is measured by training participant on-the-job performance improvement. Improvement is measured via key performance indicators in the particular training area of focus. The two ROIs measured are 1. Financial return on the individual or group in the training area of focus, and 2. The financial return on the training investment. When training participant on the job performance improves, ROI improves in both areas. Keep in mind, this analytics tool can be used to measure any entity, an individual, team, department, division, organization, an initiative or instance, like an event or class. This tool works for any type of training delivery, including, but not limited to, in-person, instructor-led training, virtually, instructor-led training, virtually, self-paced training, training via video, and training via artificial intelligence. Training and development analytics can be highly valuable to purchasers of training. Know exactly what you're getting for your investments. Outside vendor training providers or in-house training departments or providers. Use the tool to prove your offering's value. Schools or educational institution administrators. Keep your training providers accountable. And just to reiterate, training success, as measured by training and development analytics, is based on training participant on-the-job performance improvement after the training has been received. Now, I'd like to quickly share with you some helpful navigation tips. Within the tool, whenever you see a red triangle in the upper right corner of a cell, hover over that cell to get information and helpful tips. The tool is color-coded to make navigation easy. When you see a light yellow cell, that means information needs to be entered manually. There are not too many of these cells within the tool. Light green cells mean information is automatically filled in as you go from tab to tab. Gold cells show updated numbers and hopefully improvement along the way. And then, gold cells show final results in the green results tab. Blue tabs along the bottom display investment and return on investment information. Red tabs along the bottom is where you rate on the job participant performance via key performance indicators. And finally, the green tab represents a summary of final results. Before we dive into how the tool works, let's take a quick look at terms and conditions for purchase and use. You will be asked to agree to these terms and conditions prior to completing a purchase. Please pause this demonstration to read the terms and conditions for purchase and use. Thank you. Now, let's move forward to where my colleague Ryan will explain the first of the blue tabs, investment.
Thank you, Jackie. Within this tab, you will start to see how Training and Development Analytics calculates return on investment. It begins with two areas. First, by determining the yearly monetary investment in the individual or group. Second, by calculating the weight of importance of the training area of focus as related to the individual or group's overall job responsibilities. Let's take a look. The information here is key, so we're going to spend a few minutes in this tab. Within the tab, we see some light yellow cells that need to be filled in. Up on top in cell C4, add the name of the individual or group to be trained. Next in cell C5, enter a short description of the training area of focus. Throughout this demonstration, we are using an example based on an individual named Jess Johnson. The training area of focus for this example will be communication skills. In other words, Jess Johnson will be receiving training on communication skills. On the left, in the light yellow cells B8 through B15, enter the yearly monetary investments in the individual or group to be trained. Cell B16 automatically reflects the total. In cells C8 through C15 are some typical expenditures that can be changed at your discretion. For our example, we will be using US dollars, and we've filled in what it costs to employ Jess Johnson for 1 year. If a group was being trained, these numbers would need to reflect the total numbers for the group. For future training initiatives, you can copy and paste this information rather than re-entering it, or enter information that will remain consistent and save your rendition as a template. Next, we are going to enter the vital weight of importance of the training area of focus as measured against an individual or group's overall job responsibilities. For our example, we'll use 20%, meaning 20% of Jess Johnson's job responsibilities are related to communication skills. Cell B19 is where you would manually enter a percentage. This percentage can range anywhere from 1% to 100%, and again, is based on the importance of the training area of focus against the individual or group's overall job responsibilities. Cell B21 calculates the weighted yearly monetary investment by taking the total yearly investment in the individual or group, cell B16, and multiplying it by the weight of importance, cell B19. For our example, 20% of the $128,650 it takes to keep Jess Johnson employed for 1 year equals $25,730. This key number in cell B21 represents how much has been invested in the individual or group to excel in the training area of focus. This key number in cell B21 appears in blue throughout this tool and will be the number that calculations from here forward will be measured. It is with this number that the tool will calculate the two return on investments. 1, the investment in the individual or group, and 2, the investment in the training. And then finally on this tab, in cell B23, you would enter the monetary training investment for the individual or group. In this example, for Jess Johnson, the training investment is $1,750. Please note, the light yellow cells in this tab need to be filled in only once and will carry over to the other tabs automatically. Now, my colleague Inez will take you through a demonstration of the first of the red tabs.
Thank you, Ryan. This tab represents the all-important pre-training performance rating. Here you'll rate how proficient the individual or the group is in the training area of focus before receiving training. Once again, for our example, we'll use Jess Johnson, who is about to receive training in the area of communication skills. You'll notice near the top of the screen, there are a few light green cells that have been automatically filled in. Let's start on the left. Here is where, typically, the individual or group of individuals who would be entering the ratings would originate and then enter the top 10 key performance indicators in cells C12 through C21 that are related to the training's area of focus. Key performance indicators, for our purposes, are measurable values that demonstrate how effectively the individual or the group performs in the training area of focus. It is important that the KPIs match the skills and techniques that will be covered in the training program. It is on each of these KPIs that the rater or raters will rate performance. For our example, we have chosen these top 10 KPIs that relate to communication skills. copy and paste your KPIs for subsequent trainings of a similar nature. To the right of the key performance indicators in cells D12 through D21 is where the performance ratings will be entered. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being poor, 10 being excellent, rate how proficient the individual or group is in performing each KPI. Once again, the ratings entered on this tab would be pre-training ratings. The numbers are totaled and then converted to a percentage in cell D22. For our example, this total rating percentage is saying that Jess Johnson is performing at 31% in the area of communication skills. This percentage is measured against 100% optimal performance. These performance ratings are fuel for the tool. Just to the right of the ratings, cells E12 through E21 is a place to enter helpful notes regarding each KPI if desired. On the upper right, in cell K4, enter the rater or the rater's names. Just below that, in cell K5, is where you would enter the actual date of the pre-training performance rating. You will come back twice more to re-rate the individual or the group on the KPIs after they've had a chance to incorporate what they've learned in the training. The intervals are flexible and are up to your discretion. The intervals would likely change based on what is being trained. Just choose a realistic time frame to begin seeing improvement and set dates accordingly. You would enter the first rating update date in cell K6 and the second rating update date in cell K7. For this example, we have scheduled the two ratings 3 months apart, meaning the final rating would happen 6 months after the pre-training ratings. From here forward in this tool, the only work to be done is rating the individual or the group on the KPIs twice more. Let's go back to Ryan, who will speak to you about the next blue tab.
This tab reflects the pre-training performance and return on investment numbers up to this point. The data on this page is for informational purposes only. There is nothing you have to do here other than absorb the information to see where things stand. In cells B11 and B12, it is showing you that the initial performance rating of 31% for Jess Johnson in the training area of focus is 69% less than optimal. Cell B15 is reflecting the weighted investment dollars, as shown in blue, that was calculated in the initial investment tab. Cell B16 is showing that 31% of the weighted investment is $7,976. Below that, in cell B17 is the pre-training investment differential. The closer to $0, the better. Now I'll send you back to Inez, who will show you what that first performance rating update tab is all about.
So here we are at our first important performance rating update. This update happens after the pre-training performance rating has occurred and based on your chosen interval. This is where you'll start to see if progress is being made. In this tab, fill in the yellow cells with updated ratings. These ratings are based on individual or group on the job performance that has been observed by the rater or raters. The rater or raters are often managers, supervisors, or coaches. Notice that the green cells D12 through D21 reflect the pre-training KPI ratings carried over from tab 2. These numbers are for reference only. To the right of the pre-training ratings, in cells E12 through E21, is the place to enter the first performance rating update. How is the individual or the group doing now? Here you would rate individual or group performance from 0 to 10 on each KPI. These updated ratings are more fuel for the tool. They will be your first indicator as to whether the performance is static, regressing, or progressing. In our example, Jess Johnson has now improved performance from 31% pre-training to 55% in the area of communication skills, as we can see in cell E22. So progress is being made. On the upper right of the tool, the rating dates have carried over from tab 2. For this first performance rating, make sure the actual date is entered in cell K6. Adjust the second performance rating date if necessary in cell K7. Now let's go back to Ryan, who will explain what's happening in the blue First ROI Update tab.
This tab reflects the first return on investment update. Like the previous blue tab, this tab is for informational purposes only. In the light gray highlighted box to the left is what we saw in the previous blue tab. If you recall, these numbers were based on pre-training. The light gray highlighted area shows what was happening then. Below that is what's happening now. As we can see in our example in cell B17, Jess Johnson is now performing at 55% in the key performance indicators, which, as we can see in the gold cell B18, is a 24% improvement from pre-training. The updated return on investment in cell B21 is $14,152, which is 55% of the weighted investment. In this example, the differential of $11,579 in cell B22 is less than the previous differential reflected in cell B14, which is good news. Below that, in the gold cell B25, we see the updated investment differential dollars, which for our example shows a $6,175 investment improvement since implementing the training. Jess Johnson's on-the-job performance is improving, which is improving the return on the two investments, the investment in the individual and the investment in the training. Let's go back to Inez now, who will show you what's happening in tab number 6, the second performance rating update.
So here we are in our second all-important performance rating update. That is occurring at a predetermined time, since the pre-training performance rating occurred. Once again, in this red tab, all you need to do is to fill in the yellow cells with the updated ratings. Before we go there, the green cells D12 through D21 reflect the first rating update for your reference. In cells E12 through E21, the rater or raters will re-rate the individual or group from 0 to 10 for each KPI. These updated ratings will be your second indicator as to whether the performance is static, regressing, or progressing. After perhaps several instances of a particular training program and the analytics you capture for each instance with this tool, the synthesis of what you learn will help determine whether or not the training program needs to be continued, altered, or replaced. As we can see in our example in cell E22, Jess Johnson is now performing at 84% in the area of communication skills. At this point, you'll clearly know in which areas the individual or the group excel and in what areas they'll need reinforcement. Training and development analytics is a terrific coach's tool. A coach will know precisely where to focus their coaching based on the ratings for each KPI. As a reminder, in the upper right of this tab, update, if necessary, the actual date of the second performance rating in cell K7. I'll now turn you back over to Ryan, who will briefly take you through the final blue tab, number 7.
This tab reflects the second return on investment update. These blue tabs, once again, are for informational purposes only. You can see here how things are progressing. There is nothing you have to do here other than observe the numbers and use them to help strategize and make informed decisions. In the light gray highlighted box to the left is what we saw in earlier blue ROI tabs. These numbers are pre-training numbers. Once again displayed here for reference. The light gray highlighted box reflects what was happening then. Below that is what's happening now. Based on our example, we see in cell B17 that Jess Johnson is now performing at 84% in the key performance indicators, which is a 53% improvement from pre-training, which is reflected in the gold cell B18. We also see that the updated return on investment in cell B21 is $21,613, which is 84% of the weighted investment. In this example, the differential of $4,117 in cell B22 is shrinking yet again since the previous performance rating update, compared to the pre-training differential as seen in cell B14, which is what we're hoping to see. Below that in the gold cell B25, we see the updated investment differential dollars, which for our example is a $13,637 investment improvement since implementing the training. Jess Johnson's on-the-job performance is again improving, which is improving the two return on investments. So things are looking up and it is showing that the training's effect on Jess's performance has been a positive one. Let's go back to Jackie, who will wrap up this demonstration by explaining what you're seeing in the Results tab, and then a summary of what's in it for you and your organization when you invest in and use this tool.
Here you'll see the final results upon completion of the second performance rating update. Many of these numbers you've seen earlier. This tab brings them all together for an at-a-glance look at the training's effect on on-the-job performance and return on investment. All of the numbers on this tab have been automatically calculated based on information entered earlier in this tool. In the upper third of this worksheet, you will see the progress in performance. Per our example, Jess Johnson was performing at 31%, then improved to 55%, and is now performing at 84%. As reflected in the gold cell C12, Jess's performance in the training area of focus has improved by 53%. In the middle third of the sheet, you'll see how the return on investment, based on our example, has improved. The first number, in blue, $25,730, if you'll recall, is the weighted optimal return on investment in the specific training area of focus. The next three numbers reflect, first, the pre-training return on investment, then the first update return on investment, and finally, the second update return on investment. The bottom third of this tab reflects what we've all been waiting for. Cell C21 reflects the monetary improvement in the investment in the individual or group in the training area of focus. In our example, the improvement equals $13,637. Cell C18 minus cell C16 is how the tool arrives at this number. From here, you would subtract the monetary training investment in the individual or group, cell C22, to give you the monetary return on the training investment, which in our example in the gold cell C23 is $11,887. The annualized return on the training investment in our example is a robust 697% as reflected in the gold cell C24. The gold cells on this Results tab tell the story. What we are all hoping to see on this Results tab is that the training has been effective. If the results are satisfactory, you know that the training is doing its job. If the results are not satisfactory, you know that the training needs to be altered or replaced. With minimal data entry, this tool calculates the numbers for you. Let's close this demonstration by looking at a summary of benefits you'll experience by investing in and using this tool. You'll also see information on how to order and download training and development analytics. Thank you for observing this demonstration. Please take a moment to look at a summary on your left at how this tool can be of value to you and your organization. Scan the upper QR code to purchase and download training and development analytics. Scan the lower QR code to read more about the tool on the Training and Development Analytics website. Thank you once again, and best of luck with all of your training and development initiatives.